5 common Earth microbes could survive the lunar South Pole, creating a contamination risk for future missions. NASA plans to land humans on the moon for the first time in more than half a century by 2028. But those expeditions could unwittingly bring hitchhiking microbes to the lunar surface capable of surviving there. In a new study published in Scientif, NASA researchers found that 5 kinds of microorganisms that could feasibly find their way aboard one of the agency's upcoming Artemis moon missions may be able to live at the lunar South Pole. On Earth, these little life forms are resistant to harsh conditions, such as extreme cold, meaning they could theoretically survive if they somehow ended up in a part of the moon that is not exposed to direct sunlight. These areas, called permanently shadowed regions, are typically found inside large craters that could contain significant amounts of water ice, making them attractive potential sites for NASA's planned lunar bases. But there may be other sites in permanent shadow that could make for excellent microbe homes, says Prabal Saxena, a NASA research-based scientist and co-author of the study. He points out that because the sun never gets that high in the sky in these polar regions, there are also these micro-permanently shadowed regions that might harbor life. The study focused on 5 specific microorganisms that are commonly found on Earth and are known for their resilience. The first is Bacillus pumilus afrar, a bacterium often found in soil and known for its ability to withstand radiation and desiccation. The second is Deinococcus radiodurans, a champion of extreme environments that can survive high levels of ionizing radiation and cold. The third is Chrysobacterium indologenes, a bacterium often found in soil and water that can tolerate extreme cold and dryness. The fourth is Sphingomonas zaya, a bacterium found in soil and water that is known for its ability to survive in nutrient-poor environments. The fifth is Staphylococcus aureum, a bacterium commonly found on the skin of animals that can survive in harsh conditions. These 5 species were selected because they are likely to be present in the environments where astronauts and equipment are prepared for launch. They are not alien life forms, but they are Earth life forms that are tough enough to survive the journey and the landing. The lunar South Pole is a unique environment. It has areas that are in permanent shadow, meaning the sun never rises there. These permanently shadowed regions are typically found inside large craters. These craters can contain significant amounts of water ice, making them attractive potential sites for NASA's planned lunar bases. But the study also points out that there are micro-permanently shadowed regions. Because the sun never gets that high in the sky in these polar regions, even small depressions can remain in shadow. These micro-permanently shadowed regions could make for excellent microbe homes. They are cold traps, preserving whatever life forms end up there. The temperature in these regions is stable, but extremely low. This stability is key to microbial survival. Without the fluctuations of day and night, the microbes can remain dormant but alive. So why is this a big problem for NASA? The main issue is that it makes it harder to test panspermia-type hypotheses. If we find microbial life on the moon, how do we know if it arrived on the moon via a rock that was tossed up after a meteor crashed into the Earth? Or if it arrived on a lander last year? It is not a huge deal if the microbes are just dormant, but it complicates the search for native lunar life. One commenter pointed out that it makes it harder to test genetic drift. If the microbes are in a frozen state where they can't grow, then it will be just whatever we bring along and reproduces inside the capsule. But if they find something that could reproduce on the moon, then it would be a different story. This is true of all space exploration. At first, yes, try to be pristine, but eventually you will contaminate the place, and we just have to accept that with increased exploration comes increasing contaminants. Some scientists are trying to test whether that is possible by looking at lava tubes. One of the best options for building a moon base would be to do it in a lava tube, which is shielded from radiation and has much more stable temperature conditions. The lunar surface can see big swings from high to low, and it can be tricky for little critters to handle without going dormant. But inside a lava tube, the temperature is much more stable, around 63 degrees Fahrenheit or 17.2 degrees Celsius. According to a Smithsonian article on lunar pits, the temperature is surprisingly comfy. This stability could make it easier for microbes to survive, not just in a dormant state, but potentially active. The depth of the tube affects the temperature, but the stability is the key factor. This makes lava tubes a prime location for future human habitation, but also a potential hotspot for microbial contamination. The community reaction on Reddit was mixed, but generally pragmatic. One user said yes, it doesn't really seem like that big of a problem. If we are going to have a real permanent lunar base, then it is going to happen. People will do that, I am sure. Another user focused on the worst case scenario, saying they don't see the issue here. Worst case scenario, we introduce life to the moon that might evolve in a way we can't imagine to exist beyond our presence on the moon. They would only be cautious if we are possibly contaminating a cave system that might have native life. The consensus seems to be that contamination is inevitable. We are not going up there to study the moon more. People will do that, I am sure, but the primary goal is human presence, and that comes with biological baggage. The takeaway is clear. 5 common Earth microbes could survive on the moon, particularly in the permanently shadowed regions and lava tubes at the South Pole. This presents a contamination risk for future human missions, especially as we move towards building a permanent base. While it may not seem like a huge problem right now, it complicates the search for native lunar life and the study of panspermia. We will have to accept that with increased exploration comes increasing contaminants. But as we build our bases, we must also be mindful of where we place them and how we manage our biological footprint. The moon is no longer just a rock. It is a potential home, and we are bringing our own life with us. The moon is changing. It is no longer just a rock. It is a potential home, and we are bringing our own life with us. OrbitReports, signing off.